Good afternoon, beautiful souls. It is Diane Lang from Wisdom of the Akashics. I thank you very much for visiting the YouTube channel. I always like to start out by making sure and saying thank you very much for the subscriptions to the channel, for the comments that we get from the videos, and the kind words that get sent to me on such a consistent basis. And they really help me get through some of the parts where I struggle in my own story, because I can assure you that that happens. And it's going to be what I talk about today because it happened in a big way this weekend. I'm going to actually talk today about the pain of separation and the impact that it has on us, and then how to gain control over it. Because if we don't find ways to gain control over it, the energy that we stay stuck in is the prevalent story that's going to show up in our lives, and it's keeping the separation growing. It's like it's the garden that's just getting full and full and full of weeds, and we can't go out there and find our beautiful little carrots and our peas anymore because they're overgrown with the story of pain and separation. And I'm going to share with you on a personal level some stuff that happened over the weekend that's caused some separation for me from my twin, probably in the biggest way ever. And it's been a journey. It's been a couple years for there to be an ever moment. And I'm going to share that with you today and try to maintain my emotional state while I do it, because it's important and I want us all to kind of gather and learn from it. And I was prompted to call up two cards prior to this, and I feel like I'm going to call two cards at the end of the discussion, and we're going to talk about those. The first card that I got, when I just more or less, what is it, where is it that we want to know? What story do we want to start out understanding? And this is part of what came up yesterday, what's come up over the weekend, and it's something that I think a lot of us are not clear on. And the card came up as very soon. So very soon is expect changes to be coming in a timely manner in the near future. And I think there's so much going on energetically with gateways, with the stories, with twins uniting, with twins running, chasing, all of that stuff, that I think that part of the story can apply to anything. And I'm not getting it's the most important message, but I want to show you the card that came. The message on the card says, clearly decide what you want so that it comes to you now. And this is a big part of the story for us, because if we actually don't have a clear idea, it's a mishmash. It's whatever shows up, shows up. It comes in one way looking like this, and the next day looking like this. And one day we feel in alignment, the next day we're feeling out of alignment. One day we're in love vibration, and the next day we're stuck in loneliness and emptiness and frustration. And part of it is lack of clarity, because if we clearly decided what we want, we don't take our eye off the prize of the love vibration. We don't take the eye off the prize of the union, of coming to a higher place, of becoming a more awakened, enlightened, beautiful, loving soul to all that exists in the universe, to all people in our lives, to all relationships in our lives. We get so tunnel visioned on our twin, and this is part of what happened, and it's happened to me, in that it really showed up big this weekend. So what I was called to do is look at why did this just happen. We've been having such connection and such good energy, and even though we're not in physical relationship or a physical connection, energetically we're just, it's just beautiful. It's bang on. It comes very quickly. It happens all of the time. You guys are aware of some of that stuff. But there's a lack of clarity on what you really want, what I really want. And when it came up over this weekend, I caught myself in some of the stuff. I reacted in a way that upset him. And then that expanded out into a whole new story, which culminated yesterday by probably the biggest separation we've ever experienced. And one that's going to take some time to come up above, in the sense that I have to make some changes. They're not about him making the changes. They're about me making the changes. And in some communication that we had yesterday, because he was upset that I shared some of my feelings for somebody that knows him. I shared them with somebody that knows him. And he completely didn't like that I did that. And I let him know I did it because I didn't want it to come through a back door. I didn't want to get him to get told about it in a different way. I didn't want it to come across like it was gossip or snooping. Somebody that he knows just clearly landed in my lap on Saturday night and sent a note out to me, hey, what are you doing? You want to have a coffee? And we ended up sitting outside at the fire and spending several hours together and laughing and talking. But it came up because it came up about where is my heart? Where's my heart in relationship to? And why am I, single in the external world? And it came very clear to me that night, I'm not single at all in my heart, but I am actually a single woman. And so there was some stuff about learning around that. I am not letting anybody in. I don't date, and I don't go out, and I don't have a desire to be with other people. And in the meantime, his story is not changing. But in the truth, my story is not changing. That's when you ask the hard questions. I didn't make it about him. I did let him know that this communication took place, that I shared with somebody, somebody we have as a mutual friend, some feelings, and that, I wanted him to know that that happened and that it didn't come to him in a way that, it came in a way that upset him simply by I shared with him that it happened. He said something to me he has never, ever said before when he finished communication with me. And he said, I don't want you to do that. I was upset that you did that. Stop doing that. And then he wrote the word bye. He's never said bye to me before. There's, I'll talk to you later. There's catch up. We'll catch up soon. There's I'll be in touch. There's always a form of an open door. And yesterday he said bye. I went into a state of all sorts of things. I went into, I went into some anger. I went into, well, if you were doing this, then I wouldn't have been over there talking to Buddy, and well, if you had just made, if you'd been more clear about the decisions that you're making in your relationship, I wouldn't be wondering. I did that alone at home. I did not do any of that in the communication I had with him. I kept my words clear. I didn't spit anything back. I didn't send out any blame or shame or anything, but I experienced it afterwards because I'm human, and this journey is friggin' tough, and it's friggin' tough some days more than others, and it was particularly tough for me this weekend because I'm teaching it. I'm guiding people how to manage this story and sharing with you how I do, and then I actually went into a program of failure. What are you doing? How do you teach this now? What do I say? My twin just said bye to me. He didn't say I never want to see you again or anything like that, but he has never ended communication with that. Ever. And so I had a lot of stuff that came up. I caught myself telling this gentleman that I was sharing my story with the other night when he was saying, well, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? I caught myself using the sentence, I'm waiting for him to do this. I teach you not to put out, I teach you about waiting energy. Waiting creates waiting. I caught myself, because when you're in your own stuff, you don't really hear it all the time. That's why you come out for guidance and come to videos and reach out for me to the twin flame clearings, which are just absolutely amazing. I mean, I'm going to let you guys know here, I'm going to just let you know the amount of countries, just alone, the people from countries, from different parts of the world that have stepped forward into the twin flame clearings that are being offered right now. And the connection to know that on a heart level, it's coming from all sides of the world. Our stories are uniting. The gateway's not just opening in Canada or Saskatchewan or the United States, the gateway is where it's like creating a pot of energy. Every time a new clearing request comes in, I look at the location, and it's like I can put up a map, and it's just amazing. I'm so humbled. I'm so honored. I had somebody that I wanted to give a twin flame clearing for yesterday, because the date of giving them to you within 3 days had come up, and I asked her for grace. I sent the note and said, can you give me grace on this today? I had a bit of a crash and burn with my twin, and I don't want to bring that energy to your session. And I needed to have my own time and space to get through that experience of the weekend, which actually started on Friday night. And it started because of something to do with the relationship that he's in that I did get spitty and spatty about. But I caught myself saying the other night, well, I'm waiting for this. And then I thought, wow, don't I know better? I know what waiting energy creates. I know what waiting energy does. Waiting creates waiting. So I was asked to clearly decide what I want. Do I want in this relationship, when he's enmeshed with somebody else, that all of this shit is going on in his life? The stress, the struggles, the home life, the kids, all of that stuff that's happening, which to me is part of what I see as his, when I look at him and I see that grayness in his skin color, and I see him, how skinny he's gotten, and that little, cheeks start caving in on people when stuff like that's happening. And I've gotten so sad about it. I just want to reach out and hug him and love him and take him out of it. It's not my job. It's not my job to interfere in that story. It's my job to pray around it, keep my energetic vibration high, love him through it where he is at. And so by taking and acknowledging the space that I was in yesterday, how I needed to clean that up to get back on. I literally felt like somebody came along and took the wind right out of my sails yesterday. And the old Diane would not be doing this video today. They wouldn't be sitting here dressed, having their hair done, having my little dress on, talking to people, doing appointments, having a coaching sessions, doing a twin clearing already this morning. The old Diane would still be upstairs, lying in bed, crying, holding on to my teddy bear, which defines as his presence with me. Pretty much told him, you don't really get any time here tonight, because I need to separate from how I'm handling the story. I need to change. I can't look at him to make the changes. So I allowed myself grief yesterday. I allowed myself tears, an outpouring of tears. I allowed myself some guidance from somebody who understands the twin story. And that I reached out to him, and he said, absolutely, I'm here for you. What can I do to help? And I told him what happened. And he said, so what are you going to do? Well, I mean, what do you mean what am I going to do? Are you buying the illusion? Are you running? Are you going to give up when it's tough? That's what he asked me. Sorry. I told him, fuck, sometimes I hate it when you do that. But guess what? That's why I went to him. I didn't go to somebody who pacified me. I didn't go, oh, sorry, Diane. Just give it some time. He'll come around. No, I went to somebody, what's your part in it? What are you doing? What are you trying to control? What aren't you letting go of? Are you in surrender? Wham. It's part of the story, and it's part of accepting my humanness. So then I got into care. I got into nurturing. Last night I went out and I had dinner with a friend that's been a friend for a long, long, long time. We didn't talk anything about my life or my story. He looked at me. He could tell I'd been emotional. He knew I'd been crying. He asked me if I was okay. Gave me a big hug. And then we just had a nice supper together. We just hung out. We were just being. Then I came home. I got into my thing. I got into bed. I didn't cry myself to sleep last night. So I'm claiming some successes here. That is the old Diane. The old Diane isn't the one that managed this situation since Friday night. The rebirth of my soul coming into alignment with this vibration of love and unity and hearts and twin souls and clearing and stepping into my path and doing my work and doing my videos and getting back on track. It's 1:50 the next day. If I looked at my phone, this conversation that I had yesterday, actually I deleted it. The conversation that I had yesterday took place about this time yesterday. And so when I know that, it was actually maybe an hour earlier, but when I know that, that's the recovery time that I'm really proud of. That's the recovery time when I tell you, don't get upset for getting in the state. Just control how long you stay there. That's the part that kicked in for me. And it kicked in an hour. It kicked in 6 hours. It kicked in last night when I went to bed and I didn't cry myself to sleep. It clicked in when I jumped out of bed this morning and I got up and I went out and I ran some errands. I came home, I showered, I did my coaching. I did a clearing. I'm hosting a call today with a group of people that want to know about the Akashic records. I'm on path again today. And one thing I do know, as much as I feel upset at him, and I'm not going to deny that some of that's still there, he's without question upset at me. I don't love him an ounce less today. I'm not going to let that happen. I'm not going to let that happen because we had a bad day. I'm not buying into the illusion that was asked to me yesterday. Are you buying the lie or are you staying in the truth? Do you think just because he said bye to you, it means this? And at the time, I'm like, well, yeah, kinda. Really? All of this stuff that goes on between you, the connection, all the stuff that's happened, the love that you have for him, identifying the night before that I was in waiting energy, that I'm in frustration with where he's at. I was into the she story. She isn't loving him. I don't actually live in their house. I can't say that. I do know that's how he's felt in the past. I do know that he felt he was convenience. And if you watch my videos, then he'd probably get really mad at me that I just said that. What I do know is I got enmeshed. That's the word that I wrote here this morning. I'm enmeshed in their story too much. I'm not living my own. I'm not experiencing my own joy. The session in the twin clearing session today, it came up, and it came up specific, obviously, for the person that I'm doing the clearing for, but it's been coming up commonly through any of them, is we got to not just try to vibrate with love. We have to vibrate with joy. The universe says, you're all making it so much work. You're all taking it so serious. Get out and have some fun. Become lighthearted, because this journey is not for the faint-hearted. If you want to step into a twin journey, and if you want a twin flame experience, and you want to know if yours is on earth and if you're connecting to them, you can't stay in the lower energetic story of pain and separation and sadness and loneliness. Kick that fucking shit to the door and say, I'm going to go embrace a friend today. I'm going to go have a supper with somebody I love. And don't take the whiny story with you. He completely would have let me do that last night, my friend. If I would have went into him. I'd already had my session with somebody earlier that helped me come up with some of the questions. But I knew if I stayed home last night, I would struggle to actually necessarily come out of it the way I wanted to get out of this, because I am not giving this power over to the illusion. Regardless if I ever come into full physical union with my twin, no story on earth yet in my lifetime has taught me this much. Nothing. Not the loss of my parents, not the loss of my brother, not watching people come through addictions, dying of cancer, dying of AIDS, dying of heart attacks, dying in windsurfing accidents. I had 14 funerals in 28 months at one point in my life. 14 funerals in 28 months. I didn't want to answer the phone. But what it taught me was my belief in spirit and the soul and the end of things and the beginning of things, and connecting that they're still there. They're just not physically here, but they're there. We're still divinely connected to them. No different than we are on earth, only I think the connection can be that much higher because we have the ability to have a physical reaction to somebody, feel physical love, stay in physical vibration, get happy when we see them, go, God, he's so fucking sexy. That's how I feel about mine. Just nobody else in the world has ever brought that to my heart. And in this discussion that I had, he said, do you think you've never been in love before, Diane? I got asked this. I said, not to this degree, no. Never. I've had some good relationships. I've had some relationships went 5-6 years. We went through all sorts of stuff. The love was there. I never felt the desire to marry. I never asked marriage. I never brought it up. And if a man doesn't bring it up, then I'm of the mind then, if I wasn't sure I wanted it, why would I introduce that to our story? There's a beautiful book called In the Meantime. I'm not drawing the name of the author. Ilana or something. She used to be part of Oprah quite a bit. She has a book called In the Meantime, and in the meantime is what happens to us in the meantime between our bigger relationships that come along to teach us things, the ones that we're the closest to and the longest partners that we have, and then in the meantime, the people that we date, that we go out and have fun with, that we bring lightheartedness to. But the universe wants us to become lighthearted. 21:21 on the clock when I said that. 21 passing over to 21:22. Lightheartedness. We can't be bogged down in everything anymore. And if you want to take responsibility for your own story, you have to be the one that gets up and calls the friend. And you have to go to your friend and say, no, and this is more or less what I said. Actually, I've had a horrible fucking day. I don't really want to talk about it, but I could sure just use some space. Let's just have, okay, well, let's barbecue some burgers and watch some Olympics. And that's what we did. I didn't want to keep on. The story would be for me to go over there and then tell the story, even though I'd already told somebody earlier in the day. Oh no, I got to repeat this one. I got to tell it. I'm not done being whiny and sucky about this yet. And I don't mean to call people whiny and sucky. I don't want you to take it that way. I'm just saying that my goal immediately when I realized the level of separation I felt yesterday, and the word bye, that's the word that, I mean, literally can make you want to just upchuck. He'd never said that to me before. Ever. I took it very, very hard. But I decided I want to stay in control of what happens to me. I want to be in love energy again. I don't really like him today because of all the whole thing that went out over the weekend, and that he feels that I should be able to keep this some big goddamn secret between us. We haven't been together for a long. We never had a physical relationship. We've never had a physical relationship. We had a heart relationship. So if you want to admit that you've had something, there is an emotional affair that takes place between people. People say you haven't had a physical affair. That doesn't mean you haven't had one. I acknowledged that as soon as I met him because I fell in love with him so quickly. And he was with somebody else. I knew right away. I had to at least own the fact that I was allowing myself to engage into an emotional loving affair. Because my love, it was just love. It was just, wow. You have two people that have that kind of connection, love at first sight. I saw you, I saw my wife when I looked at you. And as long as the relationship's been that he's been in, there's never been marriage. I believe in marriage of the heart, and I can teach all sorts of stuff around marriage of the heart. Because if you don't have marriage of the heart, the union, the full union of allowing somebody to fully be who they are, express who they are, don't need to keep them at home, don't need to lock them up, are afraid to let them go out, don't trust them. Our distrust in other people is our own story. Unless you're with a true player and somebody in your life that really just takes advantage of that, and you know it's their nature. But our distrust comes in our behavior, not theirs. We just reflect it out. It's what we're projecting it onto them. But if you can't let your spouse or your husband or your partner go out and have some time with his buddies because you fear something's going to happen, that's just going to show up all over the place. But do they deserve that fear? Do they deserve your doubt when they're loyal or they're giving everything they can to your children? I have a belief that I don't understand women that don't have intimacy with their partners but act so bloody surprised when they go look for it somewhere else. People say I feel that way because I'm single. No, I feel that way because logically I literally don't understand it. I don't understand how, if you don't have an intimate relationship with somebody who's caring for you and your family and your life, I get tiredness and busyness and all that. I'm talking about people who basically just withhold. Their spouse's needs are not important to them. Well, then consider yourself as somebody that maybe what you shouldn't have is a spouse. It's certainly not one that you've locked into having to come home and not be loved in that way. Convenience is a very, very uncomfortable place for the soul. If you're into things because it's convenient for you to stay, it's convenient for you not to get separated, it's convenient for you not to have to get lawyers, it's convenient for you to just put up with things, I'm telling you, you're digging a grave for your soul. Stop that stuff. Step up and be the powerful person in the choice. You have to allow yourself to release some of this stuff. Trust in your partner, and if you don't, address it. Go get help. Go be the person that says, I don't trust my partner, not because he doesn't do anything. He doesn't actually do anything. But boy, I can't let him out of my sight. Or you go out and you behave badly, and then you wonder why your spouse doesn't like. You get flirty, you get loose, you do all that, but I would never do anything. Had a whole conversation around this yesterday. Well, are you instilling that in your, if you don't, you're not going to do anything. What do you need to be lushy for when you drink? If you have a problem with your behavior when you have alcohol, the choice is to not drink alcohol. It's not to not let your spouse go out because of it. It's somebody step up and take responsibility for what's going on. So what I got yesterday was regroup. What I got this morning was just regroup, Diane. Maybe you're not going to see him for a long time. Maybe you're literally going to step out and you are going to have, for the first time, I mean, our connection that went burst, the fact that we met again, and then we actually connected and became friends, it's coming to 3 years in September. So we're just under that mark. And for the first time, yesterday and this weekend happened. It happened in a way that I upset him in a way that I don't believe he's ever been upset with me before. I'm not going to apologize for letting somebody in to my story and for understanding. I wanted somebody that knew him to just help me understand him a little bit better. We didn't gossip. He didn't break any confidences. If I asked a question where he felt he was, he'd say, I can't answer that. That wouldn't be right for me to answer that or on his behalf. But he talked to me about who he was as a person and as a man. And he's everything that I believe and more. I mean, if anything, by the end of that evening and sitting around and chatting, and we didn't spend 6 hours at this, it just came up on and off because of our whole conversation. But by the end of it, I did nothing but love him more in the end. Because I understand that I got it right when I call his personality as who he is, who his core is, what his integrity is. Can you be too moral, too noble, too loyal? I don't know. If you're not being loved and nurtured, and if you're in stress and all of that, sometimes I think that God's trying to tell you you're worth more than what you're getting. But it's not up for me to decide that on his behalf. It's up for him to decide it. And right now he's chosen it. He's choosing to stay. He's choosing to be where he is. He's choosing to make that story his priority. I'm the one that has trouble with it. And it's not because he feels anything less for me. I don't believe that. I don't think he feels anything less. Right now he's frustrated as all hell. But that's part of separation. That's the pain of separation. But for myself, I'm committed not to stay in it. For the clearings, for the gateway that we're going through, I'm committed not to stay in it. I'm not doing it for me. I'm not going to put him through that because that's just energetic shit I'm sending. I needed to be clear to continue this work, to do these clearings. And if you would like to know more about them, the link will be below. And typically they are done within 2 or 3 days. I'm actually caught up. I have one more to do right now. That's it. from souls and hearts and spirits all over the world. It's just such a beautiful thing. The clearings are different for everybody. Sometimes I get visual stories, sometimes I get pictures, sometimes I get words, sometimes I get the disconnection, sometimes I get the union. But I trust Spirit to be working on what it is that's creating your biggest block and barrier to this union, and then calling in what is the greatest gift and story that will unite you. That's what I do in a session. They're lasting longer than I expected they were. I was told what to price for them. I was given all of it by Spirit, and I just followed. I'm just listening. I'm allowing Spirit. I've given them that price till the end of August. I haven't been told that that's going to be any different. I actually don't believe they're going to stay there, because I'm realizing they're more energetically, there's more going into them than I expected. I sit down and I write you about it. I give you as much as I can. I've even had some that were verbally channeled. I've been told when to do them that way. So it's just following our hearts, following my path, staying true to the story, getting out of the enmeshment. So now that we know all this, and we've talked about the pain of separation and ways to catch yourself, don't beat yourself up for being in it. I'm not going to do that. I was disappointed in myself. I was disappointed in myself for how I handled the start of the story, which is how I handled something on Friday night. That's what started it all. And we'd had such a good week. So yeah, there's some frustration. There's some stuff that still has to be cleared. But I will work on that. I did my own clearing yesterday. I went into my heart. I allowed myself to nurture. I allowed myself to cry. I'm aware that there's things that I'm disappointed in. I didn't beat myself up about them, though. Because, boy, that can come fast and hard, too. 2 cards. Much of what I've been saying to you is turn the mirror around, turn the mirror around, turn the mirror around. Make it about you. Get them out of the story if you're having pain. Don't think about them. Let them go. Trust that the universe will be doing the work on your behalf. Practice the vibration of love. Clear when you're in the lowers. When you come to me for the clearing, I have written a beautiful invocation, some clearings and some instructions, and I think it's beautiful. It was channeled to me from God, so love yourself first. We spend so much energy sending them everything. The good, the bad, and all the crappy in between stuff. Stuff that sits on the fence. We get the worry, the doubt. Is this real? Is he my twin? Is he really my twin? Well, one thing I'm damn sure about, there's nobody else has come along and affected my heart in this way. And even on the tough things, the growth has been so rewarding. The ability to love other people because of this love. How I've opened myself up to let other people in other ways in my life because he cracked the eggshell when I met him. Love yourself first. Your self-respect makes you more romantically attractive. Self-respect is allowing yourself to be true. It's allowing yourself to not be in pain. Some people say, oh, there's really good growth in pain. Well, there is if you lift your head up out of it to see the growth, but there isn't if you never see that. If everything is just pure stuckness, then that's you. So you have to love yourself enough to go out and be lighthearted. And the second card that came up, which I completely talked about in this video, and I just pulled the card, is playfulness, lightheartedness, reach for joy. Don't make it so difficult. Quit being so weighed down about it all. I mean, I literally had a moment yesterday where I had the words go through my head, fuck him. Because I'm human and I feel that. I don't want to stay there because I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it myself. It's nothing to do with him. Playfulness. Be playful. Find joy in anything that you can. I know I stay home a lot more in the winter. I don't go sit in front of my house like I do. and all of that. So the other day when I was at my friend's house, the one I had a burger with last night, he has all these puzzles. And they've been getting into some really big ones, and they're just tiny little pieces. I don't want anything to do with them. But I said, do you have a puzzle that's colorful and that's got bigger pieces? He goes, oh my God, there's a whole stack of them. Well, I said, that's what I'm going to do this winter. When I'm home and I need to separate from some of my stuff, I'm going to do puzzles and mandalas. I already decided. Can't wait. So immediately I went and I found this awesome puzzle. I wish I had it here to show you. If I remember, I'll take a snapshot of it when it's complete. I'm not doing it right now. It's too nice out. It's 30 degrees above today. I'm not interested in a puzzle today. But I'm already planning as to how to stay in the vibration of creation and fun and joy at a time that I know gets more difficult for me, because it gets difficult for me in the winter. My soul family is Procyon, so I need sunlight and sex to actually be really healthy. Water, sunlight, and sex are actually part of my ingrained need to be fed. I don't have that in my life right now, one parts of that, because I've chosen to wait. I'm giving them this video is very much for me to understand this story today, and you're getting to be a part of it. The pain was almost unbearable yesterday. I literally just, wow, cut off at the knees, wind out of the sails, all of it. I was just in pure sadness, but I did some things that helped me not stay there. And I'm so proud that within a day, I'm back up giving this information, sharing it, being vulnerable enough to let you guys know this has happened. Because it isn't all bliss for me. I just have control of my emotional body better than a lot of people, because I'm in such practice of it all the time. It's why people do reach out and come for clearings and stuff like that. I have a goal to keep my vibration high in order to have any effect on yours. I'm a human though, so don't ever put me on any pedestal. Don't do that. Just say, if I get the odd person that writes me a note or says a note, I want to be like you. Be the greatest version of yourself be the greatest version of yourself that I might remind you to where you want to shoot for in the stars. Oh, I love her sense of humor, or, things like that. But go be the best you. I love this quote that came up the other day, and it was one of these Olympic athletes, and I can't think of her name, so I'm not going to try to use it. I'm not going to go Google it right now in the middle of the video, but the statement was made to her, and I'm guessing maybe she's a swimmer. I don't even know that part, but it was a woman. And in the thing it said, she was described as the next Michael Phelps, and I'm pretty sure he was a swimmer. That's why I'm thinking maybe she was. So yes. And her response was, I'm not the next Michael Phelps, so I'll use my name in the story. I'm not the next Michael Phelps. I'm the first Diane Lang to have ever done that. She didn't allow herself to be compared to his story at all. She owned it her own. I'm not the next him. I'm the first powerful, amazing gold medal winner of me. I was like, yes. How powerful. What ownership. That's in every one of us. In addition to the clearings, I'm offering a reading clearing combination now, because after the clearings, people are reaching out for readings. And they actually save you a bit of money if you do both. They're shorter because I have to be honorable to the time I can spend with each one, but they're on the site. And they're priced with an energetic number that I believe that's what I do. I price everything with an energetic number that has resonance. $55 for the clearings. $111 for the combination. 111, 1111, all of it's important. It's an energy that we send out into the universe when we make a commitment to do something about our stuff. So God bless you guys. I want to thank you for coming to the video. Thank you for listening to me share my story. Thank you for your comments and your likes, and for the clearings. I'm really open to just really hammering these through for the month of August. I got a little tired there last week because when I'm in somebody else's story and I go in there and I get your stuff and I see that pain, it comes down, it downloads through me. I do clearings, I do grounding so that I'm not owning it, but I'd be amiss not to allow it to pass through and at least channel it to move forward. So there's some level of experience, there's some level of connection that takes place between me and each one of you that I clear for. And I think part of this crash and burn scenario, as I called it yesterday, was to clear a bunch of stuff for everybody, because it's been coming up in the readings, that we're waiting, a lot of things are about what he is doing or she is doing. We have to own our own story. And what I realized, I cannot. If I'm going to judge him for his choices, then I'm in judgment, period, end story. And I do. I sometimes judge him for staying there. I get upset. So then I'd go to my story. What would I tell my client? What would I tell somebody that was coming to me? Don't pay attention to being in the energy of judgment. Work on how long you're going to stay there. Work on what it's going to do for you to come up out of it. And I'm high-fiving myself for it being a day. This is growth, people. You will get there when you practice this like I do. You will get there when you ask yourself the questions. Okay, what do I need to let go of and process and release? And then how can I come up out of it and go back into my vibration of love? Where I wrote a note to myself, regardless of what happened, I'm not loving you any less. That's what I wrote. I'm not loving you any less. I don't give a shit how much you upset me yesterday. I don't give a shit how much I upset you yesterday. I'm not loving you any less. That's not going to happen. And if I did, then I gave up on my own journey, because if he's my twin, I'm giving up on him. I'm giving up on me. I've gotten that clear message from Spirit right from the beginning. It's the reason we can't give up on them. And if you can give up really easily, and there's a difference between letting go and giving up. Big difference. Letting go is surrendering, allowing, giving it over to Spirit, going and being lighthearted and living your life and allowing the story to unfold. Giving up is, you schmuck, you don't get any of my time, my heart, my energy. I hope I never see you again. Blah, 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 blah. Stay where you are, you stupid ass. I just give up on you. I'm not giving you any more of my time. I'm going to actually give this whole story less time, because that's what I got. That's my waiting energy, what it's creating. So I am giving it less time. There's things that I do every day energetically to connect to him, and I'm taking a break. I'm taking a break based on what I did Friday night and how I upset myself, which then upset, which I knew he had to be upset about. He never told me, never sent me any message, but based on the fact that how I handled the situation, I thought, whoa, I'm not happy with that. I'm not happy that I just did that. I got up the next day and I went about my day, and I actually, went on with it. And then it was purely getting the phone call at 9 o'clock on Saturday night. Hey, do you want to have coffee or something like that? And it was so beautiful that when this mutual friend came over, and I said, do you want to head out and have a fire? We can have a nice fire out back. It's so beautiful out. Big meteor shower was happening over these few days. And yeah, hey, let's go do that. Went and got some tunes, poured myself a glass of wine, and sat and visited somebody whose company I really enjoyed. But I also allowed myself to be vulnerable and talk about something that's going on, because we don't have mutual friends. I've never talked to anybody for the most part about them. I talk to you guys about them because I'm on YouTube and I'm trying to, bring some understanding to the story, because I got told that, and if you've watched the video, or I got told this last year, you're going to teach people about these twin flame relationships. You're going to help them make their way through them. You're going to help them heal, and you're going to help them vibrate and bring them in. No, I'm not. No. Total resistance when this all came up last year. Started in July, I believe. So we're a year. We just passed over that year mark. So thank you for coming to the video. God bless you. It is tough as shit sometimes, but you are a spiritual warrior if you've even decided to be part of one of these relationships. You know, I tell people sometimes I wouldn't even care if, be attached to them being the twin, but allow the twin story to teach you to go to a higher place in vibrational place in your heart for love, unity on the earth, period. Because if we clean up our backyard and we set a good example, the neighbors can maybe all of a sudden decide, oh, you know what, I really like what she did her flower bed. I think I'm going to do that. Next thing you know, your neighborhood's pretty again. That's your outer life, your experience, the people that are showing up in your story. And if it's all drama and pain, as much as I hate to say it, it's your law of attraction. It's my law of attraction. When people are pissing me off, it's just somebody showing up to show me where I'm vibrating with a lower energy that's causing this situation to show up in my life. And if it's a repetitive one, yet again, here I am. Unreliable guy. Man that drinks too much. I had a conversation with somebody I love this winter, and I said, who's the common thread in your stories? Well, what do you mean? I said, well, if you've had 5 relationships that have basically ended up the same way, who's the common thread? The 5 guys or you? It's a great question. Great question to ask. You ask somebody else a question, you have to be able to turn around and ask yourself the question. The point was, and it was not about sending out any sort of blame or judgment or it's all your fault or any of that. It's about the common denominator isn't the 5 guys. The common denominator is us. 5 different men, 5 different names, 5 different ages, 5 different locations in the earth, 5 different cars, 5 different physical appearances. They're not the common denominator. The thread that's running through the story of abandonment or whatever that is that's coming up, not trustworthy, repeating men with calling in people with addictions. That's our repetitive law of attraction. It has nothing. They're just showing up and being the healing angel if we choose to be healed. And if you attract the same guy again, all you're being shown is you didn't get as far as we needed you to go, so we had to bring it back to you. Because you're almost there. Because maybe this guy only has this much of a problem compared to this much. But take ownership of it. And if you need help, reach out. I really, truly, I would not be where I am today without doing that. And I had a lot of trouble asking for help because of my strong stance and being an independent woman. I had a lot of trouble asking for help up till well into my probably 40s. Before I start realizing it doesn't make me weak, it makes me strong to admit that I need it. And there's great and wonderful people out there that can do it. And because I already understood and had been studying the law of attraction for so long, that I will attract the right coach for me. I will attract the right person to come into and help me heal some of my story. So then you own that, and then literally somebody wonderful can show up for you to help you or love you in a way that you needed loving. Show you that you're a wonderful human being because the kindness that you showed them, and then it reflects back at you and it starts showing up in your life. You want kindness in your life? Be kind. You want love in your life? Be loving. You want money in your life? Be abundant. Money is an energetic story. It is not, money is just an energetic story. If you align with abundance, money will show up. If you align with abundance in your heart, money will show up. My Akashic record teacher taught this constantly, drilled it into us constantly. If you don't like what's in your bank account or your relationships, change that. If you're lonely, go out and find a way to find love. Go pet puppies. Go to a shelter. Come away to come up into vibrational energy. I used to ask, when I first got to where I lived this time, moving back to my hometown, I went to the hospital and asked if there was any way I could help with babies. Because I never got to have any children. It wasn't part of my story. I always wanted them. So I wanted to go help babies that needed some extra care, that maybe need held when they were first born, and their mothers needed a break, but they wanted somebody. I wanted to do something because I love the energy of birth and babies. And they said, no, you need to live in a city where you have children's hospitals. So that didn't come to fruition for me, but I went out and started helping in the community in the other way. I went and started working with some teens and some younger people. Now I have some that come to me into my session, into my healing room. and come for me for guidance. And I'll tell you what, if you can get a person that, 15 to 25 years old, understand and grab hold of the law of attraction, their lives can change overnight. Because they don't have 30 more years of weight that they have to then be responsible for, that they think I fucking attracted this. Shit. That's what I'm like now. What did I just do? What the hell happened? Why did I attract that? What am I supposed to learn? I didn't think that was going to show up again. Obviously, there's something about it I didn't get. I don't beat myself up for it. I just go look for the gem. I look for the diamond in the little story in there. Dig into the dirt. Go to the shadow. Say, why would I have attracted that again? I just lost a bunch of money recently to a lady that I thought was a spiritual teacher. I'm not fully over it, but I'm not giving it much of my time. I was even going to go full out, and actually on the 15th, that was the day I told her I was going to file a complaint against her. It's the 15th today. So now I have to decide if I'm going to still do that or not. I've accepted that I'm not getting the money back. I just think she was out of integrity as to how she's handled it, and the fact she's keeping my money and not providing me the products that I ordered, the courses, the attunements. So I'm going to say we're complete. It's a little longer than I expected it to last. Just find that beauty. Love yourself first. Because if we don't, they don't come anyways. People come to learn. People show up to teach us stories to get to this place. So if we're not there, then we're just going to be attracting in people that are going to help us show up in ways that they don't support us, respect us, all of that stuff, because we're not loving ourselves. If you love yourself, that story doesn't have to show up anymore. And then be playful. This is something I'm actually really good at for the most part. I have a very quiet life. I do stay home a lot. I have physical problems because I have back surgery and back pain. So I have trouble if I go sit for any length of time, this being one of them. I'm ready to stand up this moment in time. But to be playful, to go out and get joy. And you guys know that I've been doing that this summer, going out and riding motorcycles and racing drag cars and having company and going out in the back and having fire. I'm not stopping my life for this story. If I was completely stopping my life, that would be waiting energy that's not even going to move. But I realized I caught myself in the energy of waiting for him to do something so that this doorway would open wider for us. No, it's not about him. It's about me going and kicking down that door in my own story, which creates a wider space for him to come through when and if he's ready to do so. God bless, beautiful souls. Thank you for coming to Wisdom of the Akashics. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your love, your support, trusting in me and to be in your story when I do the clearing work. And thank you for being on this journey. Spirit really has really been saying that a lot lately. Just thank them for even coming to listening to the videos means you're trying to find a higher place to be. You certainly aren't going to last 53 minutes if you didn't. And some of these videos aren't going to be watched because they're too long, but the right people watch them. God bless. Love yourself first and be playful in your heart. Because I tell you what, joy is in a law of attraction that brings amazing things into your life. So practice joy, practice fun, and then just forgive and let go and start again, and forgive and let go and start again. Love your self-worth. You're worth it. And it's true. If somebody's showing up that's causing us pain in our story, they're not causing it. We're being in pain because of our story, because now we've attracted that again. It just means you didn't get it yet, so they're going to keep sending it to you, because until you come above the love yourself first part, the rest of the story can't unfold the way that it's meant to, and the way that it'll be beautiful. It'll just be like what feels like we're just always in the middle of a hard lesson. It's not true. We're creating them anyways. All of it's about creation. And in the stories and in the work that I do now, in the program that I'm launching in Loop which is entirely done in the Akashic Records for 12 weeks. It's you go into your soul's blueprint and you accelerate your story to what it is you want it to be instead of what it is it's showing at. Teaches you how to go into soul mastery. Powerful, powerful program. I can only take a certain amount of clients. If you're interested in that, send me a note, wisdomoftheakashics at gmail.com, and just write interested in your blueprint program or soul mastery program. There's going to be a program that goes beyond that, so that's why I'm not that, you know, in terms of really stepping into full soul mastery, but it's going to be more likely groups because you can learn a lot in groups too. Initially, the first 12 weeks is just one-on-one with me. So you're getting me and the work that we do together and the value and the creation and the growth and becoming a conscious creator, hammer and just taking full control of your law of attraction. We're going to do that together. So if you resonate with me and somebody that you feel that you would benefit from working from, reach out. I don't know you exist. You know I exist. God bless you guys. Thank you. Thank you for listening to my story today. Namaste. Diane Lang, Wisdom of the Akashics.